In 2019, one company stood at the very center of the global financial universe, valued at a staggering $47 billion. It was called WeWork. But to its charismatic founder, it was much more than just a real estate business. This is the story of how a global empire was built on nothing but a dream, and how it vanished almost overnight. To understand the collapse, we first have to understand the man who convinced the world he could change the future. Adam Neumann arrived in New York with a grand vision and an infectious energy that made investors throw money at him. His idea was simple: take empty office spaces, make them cool, and rent them out to a new generation of workers. He called it the We Generation. It wasn't just about work, it was about community, beer on tap, and revolution. By 2014, WeWork had become the fastest-growing lessee of new office space in New York, expanding at a lightning pace. Every new location was a celebration. The company felt less like a business and more like a high-growth religious movement. But beneath the surface of free kombucha and beanbags, the math was starting to look very strange to experts. WeWork was signing long-term leases for decades while renting to its members for just months at a time. This created a massive financial mismatch. If the economy slowed down, WeWork would be stuck with billions in rent. Yet, Adam Neumann had a secret weapon. He didn't pitch WeWork as a real estate company. He pitched it as tech. And in the world of Silicon Valley, tech companies get valued at 10 times their revenue, not their profit. Then, he met the man who would give him the keys to the kingdom, Masayoshi Son of SoftBank. In a meeting that lasted only 12 minutes, the billionaire investor decided to pump billions into Neumann's dream. SoftBank told Adam to make the company 10 times bigger than his original plan, to go crazy. With an endless supply of cash, WeWork went on a global shopping spree, opening offices in London, Tokyo, and Paris. They weren't just renting offices anymore. They were buying wave pool companies and elementary schools. The lifestyle of the founder became increasingly lavish, funded by the company's seemingly infinite bank account. Adam began to believe his own hype. He told employees that WeWork's mission was to elevate the world's consciousness. But back at the office, the culture was becoming chaotic. Mandatory meetings at 2 a.m. and heavy partying were common. The company was losing $200,000 of every single hour of every single day. Most companies would be terrified of those numbers, but WeWork just kept growing, fueled by more SoftBank debt. By early 2019, WeWork hit its peak valuation, $47 billion. It was the most valuable private company in America. Then came the decision that would change everything. WeWork decided to go public on the stock market. To do this, they had to release an S-1 filing, a document that tells the world the truth about their finances. When the public finally read the document, the reaction was not what Adam Neumann expected. It was pure horror. The filing revealed that Adam had personally leased buildings he owned back to WeWork, making millions in the process. It also showed that the company had paid him $6 million just to use the word "we" in their name. Wall Street realized this wasn't a tech company. It was a real estate company with massive losses and no clear path to profit. Within weeks, the $47 billion valuation began to evaporate as investors ran for the exits. The IPO was delayed. Then it was postponed indefinitely. The company was running out of cash fast. The board of directors realized that to save WeWork, they had to remove the man who built it. Adam Neumann was forced to step down as CEO, but he didn't leave empty-handed. He walked away with a $1 billion exit package, while thousands of his employees faced immediate layoffs. The company's valuation plummeted from $47 billion to less than $8 billion in just 90 days. SoftBank was forced to bail out the company to prevent a total bankruptcy that would have shaken the global economy. But the damage was done. The dream of the We generation had turned into a corporate nightmare. How did so many smart people get it so wrong? The answer lies in the power of a great story. Adam Neumann was a master storyteller who knew exactly what billionaire investors wanted to hear. He promised them a future where work was a lifestyle, not a chore, and they paid any price to be part of it. But reality always wins in the end. A company that loses billions cannot survive on hype alone.
WeWork became a cautionary tale for the entire tech industry about the dangers of unchecked founder power.
The once mighty unicorn was now a symbol of the bubble that many feared was about to burst. In the years that followed, WeWork struggled to find its identity without its charismatic leader. They closed hundreds of locations and sold off the private jet and the wave pool company. The focus shifted from elevating consciousness to something much more boring, trying to pay the bills. By the time WeWork finally went public via a SPAC in 2021, its valuation was a fraction of its former glory. Then came the final blow. The global pandemic changed the way the entire world thought about office work. Suddenly, the idea of sharing a desk with dozens of strangers didn't seem so appealing anymore. Work from home became the new standard, and the massive office leases WeWork held became a liability. In 2023, the inevitable finally happened. WeWork, once the darling of the investment world, filed for bankruptcy. The company that was supposed to change the world was now just another chapter in the history of business failures. SoftBank, the biggest investor, admitted that their investment in WeWork was a multi-billion-dollar mistake. Billions of dollars in wealth had been destroyed, leaving behind nothing but empty glass boxes and broken promises. But the story doesn't end with a total disappearance. WeWork still exists, though in a much smaller form. It serves as a reminder that in business, growth at any cost is a dangerous philosophy. The move fast and break things era of Silicon Valley had finally met a reality it couldn't disrupt. Investors have become more cautious, looking for real profits instead of just charismatic founders and big dreams. As for Adam Neumann, he has already moved on to his next billion-dollar startup venture in the housing market. It seems the world is always ready for another story, as long as it's told with enough conviction. The collapse of WeWork wasn't just about one company. It was about a moment in time when money was free. When interest rates were zero and the future seemed like it could be bought with a charismatic pitch deck. That era is over, but the lessons of the $47 billion illusion will stay with us forever. Always look past the free beer and the cool logos. The real story is always in the numbers. Because in the world of big business, if something looks too good to be true, it almost certainly is. WeWork showed us how quickly power can build an empire, and how quickly that empire can fall apart. Thank you for watching this StarBrief documentary. The world of money and power is full of these stories. For more deep dives into the hidden world of business, subscribe to StarBrief. We'll see you in the next story.